We are live. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
At home. We are playing. We're doing our first episode of Two of These People Are Lying, because two of these people will be. And if you're wondering whether that's a bit familiar, yeah, it is. I have totally taken this from the technical difficulties and Tom Scott. They have abandoned the format and have just kind of put it out to the community, and I went, nope, fuck it, I love this show too much, I'm going to do it myself. And so, yeah. And so, I'm going to introduce some of our lovely players today. Over to my left, we have Banana Skins. Down.
Yo!
Oh dear, the Pepsi cryptid. And to the bottom left, I have the wonderful. Oh, it's Diet Coke this time. Down we have Off His Maracas, Louise.
Yeah, I'm dumb, stupid, and an idiot, but I am hot, so it doesn't matter.
All about the redeeming qualities. And directly below me, we have Sammy Dodger Mines.
Put a whole Dr. Pepper bottle in my mouth.
Oh,
saving that for later.
Yeah.
I don't know, everyone else was doing fun facts, okay? I didn't have anything.
That's all right. So, I'm going to do a quick explainer of the game that we have today. So, all of our contestants today that are playing along here have chosen a list of Wikipedia articles that they have read, things that they know about. And I'm going to choose...
Supposed to know about these things?
I haven't read any of my articles until today.
Yeah, if you've forgotten, then it would be 3 of these people are lying and 1 of them's a dick. So, and then I have the list of all of them. I don't know whose articles are whose. I will pick one of them at random, and I will ask them, what does this mean? And each of them will try to pretend that it's their article. But only one will be telling the truth. 2 of these people will be lying. And if you are lying, and you convince me that it's your article, you get points. If you convince me it's your article and it is your article, you get a point, and I get a point. I think that's how it goes. Let's be honest, though, most British game shows, the points don't really matter. Yeah, it never... I have seen very few game shows where the points ever factor into anything. But oh well, we still technically have points. Along the way, you can see over to my right, we have the chat, so feel free to pop in there and chat some shit about the shit that's being chatted on here. And we're going to be running a bunch of polls for you to vote and decide who you think is telling the truth. And you can get points for yourself in the audience.
Yeah, if you vote for me, I will flash you my tits.
That will be against Twitch TOS.
In private chat, I'll DM
you. Okay, looks like I'm saying goodbye to the Twitch channel. Bye, Twitch channel.
Please, all of you know I am joking. I refuse to do that. Do not take me seriously. That is not going to come back to bite me in the ass.
Oh dear. So
you vote for me, I will troll you like one of my French girls.
I hate that movie.
So I am going to take the list of articles. So I've already got a random generator in, and we're going to click the random generator. I'm going to see what we get. Okay. We have... The article that we're going to be talking about is Mike, the Headless Chicken. I feel like there's a few cues in the title here, so I tell you what, I'm going to go one by one. Just give me a quick summary of what is Mike. Do you know what? It might not be a chicken. It might be something. Do you know what? I'm going to start with Banana Skins. Pete, what is Mike, the Headless Chicken?
Mike the Headless Chicken was a rooster that was to be killed for his meat, and had his head chopped off, but survived for a couple weeks after that, just based on the nerve endings in his body.
Oh, they
were actually able to feed him.
I am going to ask a lot of follow-up questions to that one. This sounds fun. Okay, I'm going to come down to Louise. Mike the Headless Chicken.
So Mike the Headless Chicken is a sort of nickname for a Mesopotamian sculpture that they found depicting one of the very first scenes of recorded farming.
Okay, even more. Many follow-up questions. That is also great. I wasn't expecting one of those answers. And Sammy.
Well, very similar to Banana, who's a big fat liar. Mike the Headless Chicken is a chicken who accidentally decapitated himself, but actually managed to live for exactly 8 days after his head was decapitated. He was living, his body was walking around, and his head was just there and eating.
Okay. Right. Do you know what, Sammy? I'm going to come to you first.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to hear about this. So, accidentally decapitated? Did the article say how they?
Yeah. So essentially, he was part of, like, it wasn't a battery farm, but it wasn't a free range farm either. It was like an enclosed farming area where they used barbed wire the same as they would like with cows and shit. And basically, he was a dumb fucking chicken, ran full force into this barbed wire, head came clean off, just there.
Just fucking there. 8 days. Like, I'm curious as well, like, because I've got a vague memory in my head of some kind of story about this, about something that happened with it, like a tour. Like, how did this gain, like, notoriety? How did this get around?
I'm gonna be straight up, I didn't know. I literally. So if you want my answer to anything, when I was looking up Wikipedia articles for this, I googled weirdest fucking shit to find on Wikipedia. Right? I clicked on the ones I like the sound of.
I mean,
nice.
A chicken is not the weirdest thing you could find on Wikipedia.
Headless chicken fucking is.
Yeah, headless chicken is nice and spicy.
There's a reason why the saying exists. Like this
running around like a headless chicken.
Right.
That's not why that exists.
It is, but no.
No,
so
it's
like,
not.
I can't even quite remember the year, but I think it was in the 90s. But like, yeah, he was like literally. I'm not quite sure like specifics
90s.
on how it became like people thing, but I seem to remember that scientists like were like, "What the fuck? Like, what? You shouldn't be alive."
Wow.
The bonus chicken fact that I read in the same article. Chickens are like cannibals. So they develop these things called chicken sunglasses that they put on chickens. They're like little red sunglasses to stop them eating each other.
That's not how they do it, but you are close.
We're cutting in.
I read it. Wikipedia doesn't lie, Louise. What are we doing?
I didn't get this on Wikipedia. I saw it in school once. Some kid fed chicken nuggets to a chicken. Okay. So I know this.
Chickens will eat. They're not specifically cannibals, but they will eat dead carcasses of other chickens.
So
chicken sunglasses, bro.
You see, I was
think of a thug life chicken for a second.
I'm imagining that in my head. That is excellent. I like that. Banana. Nice glasses.
So he doesn't eat his other contestants.
Yeah.
I've got a taste for human flesh now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this happened like back in the 90s. And the way this gained notoriety was. Like people in the town that this happened, someone saw it, spread the word, and everyone was like looking at this headless chicken because all that was left, it was like cut off halfway up the neck, right?
Yeah. And
it was just this like fleshy nub that was just completely out in the open. And the guy that owned the chicken farm was actually able to feed him with a pipette for the duration of his extended life after his decapitation.
Okay.
It's like it was all liquid food because he couldn't actually give him solid food. But there would it just he just walked around, and this like enlightened a lot of people on the idea that like nerve endings still work after a thing is technically dead. Because they had then like people started realizing this has happened in history with people during like the French Revolution and stuff like that. Like people started being more enlightened towards that and realizing that this is an actual thing that can happen. And like scientists weren't exactly confused. They knew why it was happening. They just didn't understand why he lasted for as long as he did, which was like 8 to 10 days.
Hold on, you said a few...
Oh, yes.
Earlier.
Say 8 to 10 days after I said 8 days, Mr. Few Weeks.
And I remember you saying a few weeks earlier. And I was gonna ask you, how did it survive quite up to a few weeks? Like, I was very curious about that.
Because the guy was feeding him.
The guy was feeding him for the few weeks, right? Or the 8 to 10 days.
But his body was like being sustained.
Holes.
Yeah. First round, I love the fact that as I'm evaluating this, I haven't heard from Louise yet, but I can confidently say after hearing what Pete's had to say. Louise.
Pete's a very good bullshitter because what he's actually on about is called galvanism, and it was the term galvanism coined after the scientist who stuck two electric nodules in a dead frog and it jumped, and the idea that the body contained electricity.
Oh.
So we discovered electricity and the idea that the body contained and was run with electricity.
I've realised this isn't her article. This isn't her doing her bit. This is just like
I'm debunking the others, then I'm coming on to mine, just to prove to you that not only have I read the Wikipedia article, Are you interrupting me?
Side note. Yes. Side note. I'm pretty sure that Bananas has probably heard about the article because obviously it's similar, But I think he's actually talking about a different chicken. Because there was two. Because I went, I wonder how many chickens have had their heads cut off, and there were several, and they all had names.
Oh, that is... Sammy, you're doing a very good job. You're very good at this game.
Yeah, because it's my fucking article. Wait till it's not my article. I'm going to be like, it's made of bubble gum.
Okay, so Louise, this Mesopotamian, was it sculpture you said?
Yeah, it's a Mesopotamian stone carving, essentially. So the Sumerians were the very first civilization. They invented writing, what was called cuneiform. And the Mesopotamians, which were the empire that came after the Sumerians, we've got a lot more data on them, and we know that the Sumerians started farming, but the actual breeding and sort of maintenance control of a livestock population was very, very difficult because they spent all of that. The whole empire was formed through two rivers. The Tigris is one of them, and I can't remember the other one. Because in the Middle East, middle of the desert, that's where the only wetland was.
Yeah.
And so transporting animals was incredibly, incredibly difficult because whilst the wheel had been invented, big transportation was not a thing. You carried your shit.
Yeah.
But they found a stone carving in what was originally a temple dig site. And they actually found out that as well as a temple, there was actually a farm attached to the temple.
Oh, there's a farm attached? Oh, okay. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, because only those who could afford the land space could afford to employ people to look after the stuff. So what they thought was a massive temple was in this city one of Ur and Uruk are the two famous cities.
Oh yeah.
Which had a singular temple. You'd have a singular temple in the center of the city.
Yep.
And outward from that, you get like the middle class, and then the lower class farmlands. They thought this was like this big, massive temple. Turned out to be just another dwelling with a much smaller temple, but they had a farm. They managed to raise, and it wasn't just chickens. There were oxen as well. But Mike the Headless Chicken was the first bit of this sort of mural that they found, and they called him Mike because they thought it was funny because obviously his name would not have been Mike.
Yeah, so like I'm trying to think, when was this discovered? Like, you know, the discoverers, when was Mike the Headless Chicken discovered then? Because I'm wondering...
Mike the Headless Chicken was discovered around 2004.
Okay,
along with the big expedition.
Yeah, that's the kind of sounds like the right era for like the shithousery that you can get out of archaeology these days. Like,
archaeologists have been performing shithousery for a lot longer than that. Thank you very much.
You see, I don't have very many follow-up questions to that because...
I do. Did it always be headless, or does it have a head? No, because it doesn't fucking exist.
So the mural was... They found a fragment of the mural, and the mural had, you know, where the mural had broken, split the neck, so they only had the body of the chicken. That's why he called the Headless Chicken.
Why are they carving chickens? This is bollocks. I'm just saying. Because
writing was incredibly, incredibly difficult because only a few people could read and write cuneiform, and the later Akkadian that came across with it.
Excellent.
Because it was a mural of an entire farm. It was sort of the life story of this city.
I mean, if they were oxen as well, personally, I would have drawn an oxen. I'm just saying.
They did, but the chicken was what they found first.
Yeah.
Well,
he's just the flagship.
I'm going to say,
they're looking for something that don't exist.
Yeah. Is it still around? Was it destroyed? Like, is it still kept?
No,
somewhere?
it's in a museum.
Do you know which one? Did it say in the article?
Yeah, it's in a Greek museum in Athens.
Oh. Now you see,
I can't pronounce the name of the museum. I don't speak Greek.
Is it non-existent museum?
I'm
very funny. Is this a non-existent chicken that managed to cut its head off on some barbed wire, which is incredibly difficult to do, by the way, because I sat on all that.
Have you ever seen a chicken run? Have you ever seen a chicken run?
For everybody in the chat,
I
run at like 4 miles an hour.
I've looked after chickens.
Louise is a liar. Louise is a liar.
Let's bring it in a second. Because, wow. So there's a lot of stuff there that's very interesting. I'm going to say, just for the chat now, there is the poll that is up. You can vote ahead before we do the big reveal and before I make my guess. You can just go onto that, going through the chat. There's a little downward button, and you click on there, and you're able to vote on the person that you think is telling the truth. I'm going to say, to sort of sum up, I think that, Louise, I entirely believe lots of you gave me a lot of very good facts about Mesopotamia. I entirely believe everything that was around that. I'm sure that this is probably something that you know, but you have just put the title Mike the Headless Chicken and added in the stone bit, like just shoved it into something else you knew.
I decided to Wikipedia stuff that I didn't know about. I Wikipedia'd my articles. I didn't click the random button, and I spent 9 months of my master's degree studying Mesopotamian architecture. I know about the Headless Chicken.
Interesting.
Doesn't exist. You might want to get a refund on that.
So,
eat me.
I will later.
College loans are non-refundable, unfortunately.
That's what I didn't know. I spent my time on Wikipedia.
Funnily enough, so did I.
P, I'm going to say that, like, I like that. Lots of real fun details in there. I think that the fact that you swapped up the titles, and like you got lots of the things right, but it was Sammy who sold me on some of the details she added. I think that you vaguely remembered a story similar and that's what you've said. Sammy, I believe you. Was I right?
Oh yeah, it was totally my article.
I do have a question though, Sammy. Chickens run at like 4 miles an hour. How the hell did it manage to cut its own head off on barbed wire?
I'm gonna be straight up. I don't fucking know. I didn't read half the article.
Chickens are incredibly violent and will self-harm if they believe it's in the sort of ends justify the means. And I've raised chickens at university, and I know about that story, and it is terrifying.
Oh, damn. That is absolutely fascinating.
They are very violent. You aren't legally allowed to own a rooster because the males can be violent, but without them, the females will peck each other to death.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very careful. You've got to introduce new hens into the brood very, very gently, otherwise they will be pecked to death by the dominant females.
Oh, wow. That is a lot.
I'm terrified of chickens.
Yeah, chickens sound fucking terrifying.
Oh, see a headless one because that sounds fucking funny.
Yeah. So, let's get all this going. Just going to get the poll up.
Chat is 50-50.
Chat 50-50.
Yeah, between me and Pete.
Yeah, they were between, like, it was, I felt like, you know, Louise, it was clever, I liked it, you went with stuff you knew, and I loved it, but you spent, I think the thing that kind of made me go with Sammy was that you spent too long giving the general facts about Mesopotamia, where my brain went, yeah, you're buying time here.
I just really like facts. That's me.
Yeah, in fairness, I intend for a point when I'm on the other side of this, when someone else does my part, and my god, I will be just as insufferable on when I do this game as well. But yeah, I think we're going to go over to our next one. That was great. I love that. I got it right. I got a point. Point to me. Point to Sammy.
I know my headless chickens.
Yeah. And the next article is... Okay, I cannot even fucking pronounce that. The Ulfbeart Swords. The Ulfbeart... U-L-F-B-E-R-H-T. Ubirth? I can't. I have like just no idea. Do you know? I'm going to put it down in the Twitch chat for everyone to see the bullshit that's been put in front of me.
I know general pronunciations of this like Germanic stuff, so put it in chat. And I might be able to.
Yeah, I just shoved it in.
If it was bananas, he'd know how to pronounce it.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Hold on. Don't, because I'm actually going to say, when I come round to each of you, I want you to each pronounce that for me. And because Pete knows, I'm actually going to start with Sammy. Sammy, how do I pronounce that?
Elbroth.
Elbroth. And what is an Elbroth sword?
It is a sword that was found in, I want to say, like, middle of Germany in, like, the 1800s during an excavational accident.
Ooh. Okay. Hold on. Excavational accident. Louise, how do I pronounce that and what is it?
It's the Ulfbeart Sword, and it is a ceremonial sword that currently resides at an altar in a Danish church.
And Pete, how do I say that and what is it?
It's the Ulfbeart Sword, and it is a sword that was a Viking sword that was excavated somewhere in Scandinavia. It was incredibly rusted, but they were able to analyze it enough to figure out what shape and what weight it was, as well as the metal quality.
Metal quality. I like that we've all gone for different parts of Europe. I just got the appreciations here. We got Danish, we got German, and nondescript Scandinavian. Do you know what? I'm actually going to come to this nondescript Scandinavian sword. So how did they? When was this found then? When did they dig it up?
I believe this was found sometime in the 80s, I think. And it was like found in like an actual Viking burial. So there was a person that was holding this, and unfortunately the sword was incredibly rusted. The hilt and the crossguard are completely like rotted away. All that was left was a fragile skeleton of the blade, but through context clues, archaeologists were able to figure out that this sword was quite chunky. Actually, it was a long sword. It was a Viking long sword, and it would have been quite heavy as well. It wasn't a one-handed sword. And given like how like very detailed photos that they took of it, they were able to figure out that it was made of very high quality Damascus steel that was made from techniques imported from the Middle East.
Damascus steel all right.
And this was something that the Vikings learned from people in the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
As well as an accidental form of steel making, which was a spiritual belief that if they burned bones in the forging process, when they brought the metal up to heat, they believed it put the souls of the spirits of the animals into the sword, but in fact it was just carbonating the iron.
Putting the carbon in the iron, making steel by yes. This bit I've heard about. I don't know about the rest of it, but that bit I actually have heard about. That's interesting. You're really selling me on your article so far. That bit is really actually, okay. Hold on, just gotta finish making some notes. Sammy.
Hola.
Found by accident in the middle of Germany.
Well, I say middle of Germany, but like essentially. So what happened was it was during the 1870s battle of what was the Franco-German War.
Oh yeah.
And it happened. I think it was the. This is where I get wrong things because I don't read shit properly. Battle of Seine. I want to say that. But during the battle itself, the sword was discovered. So it was like during like, I don't want to say breaks between battles because you don't really have breaks between battles, but you get what I mean. It was dug up by a German soldier where there was debris and like where the ground had been lifted and it was just there. But the thing was is that this sword was so unusual in the fact of like it was an undefined make of sword. So you know how you like have a kukri or like a long sword or that. It was nothing that had been seen before, but this thing was like old, like freaking old. And they're like, why has this not been documented as a sword make yet when we've never seen it? Like it was essentially, it had the kind of wave pattern of
scimitar.
Thank you. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know the name of this freaking thing.
Okay.
The wave pattern, I don't know what kind of sword it is because I genuinely don't know sword names. But it's like the wave of a specific branch of sword, but then it had a straight edge and then a bulge at the base. But then the handle construction was unusual as well because there was essentially, instead of having the tang of the blade forged out of the same metal, it was all done in brass.
Oh. Wow! Did they ever? So yeah, this sword. Is it? Did they ever sort of like figure out where it came from? Like, is there a culture they think it's from nowadays?
They genuinely. That's the whole point of why it's so interesting because it still is to this day a mystery of what it is, who made it, what country it origins from.
Yeah.
Like literally have no idea. All they know is that it's from like 900 AD.
900 AD. But they don't know around the time of Charlemagne. That tracks. And I also have to say as well, I do like bringing in the Franco-Prussian War there. And I don't know whether you read it in the article and are misremembering it, or whether you've just generally got this battle in the back of your mind. But the Battle of the Seine was a battle in the Franco-Prussian War. That's something I do know about. So
it's
like
something like that. It's honestly words I'm really bad at in general.
No, that's good. I'm very convinced so far. And then we have Louise. What did you say, Louise? You got to remind me.
So it is a sword that is kept in a Danish church.
In a Danish church. Lovely. Why in a church, out of curiosity?
It actually belonged to a bishop. Oh. So back in we're talking very early days, Ethelred the Unready, Alfred the Great, very first kings of England, getting attacked by Vikings a lot. One of the things that happened under Ethelred the Unready, who is named so because he kept paying the Vikings to go away, which didn't work, was that missionaries were sent over. much like the missionaries that you'd think of today, but obviously probably not a good idea to send a man of the cloth unarmed into Viking territory, which extended down into Denmark at the time.
Yeah, you don't with the Vikings.
Bishops carried protection. They were trained in sword fighting and battle. I say battle strategy. Very, very basic combat strategies.
Yeah.
In case the people that they were ministering to didn't like them. And this one particular bishop, his name was Edmund Williamson, and Bishop Williamson, and he actually stayed in Denmark for the rest of his life. He went over there for a mission and never came back. And he converted. He converted to paganism, basically, and protected this small town against what was supposed to be his replacement when they found out that he converted. And he was just like, nah, mate, we're not having it. And so
I like this Odin fella.
Yeah.
His body was lost. They don't know where he was buried, but his sword was kept by the town and later given to a church, sort of as a reclaimed artifact from his days as a bishop. So, and there it sits as a sort of replacement for a tomb.
Ooh. Okie dokie. That's interesting. You see, the early bit, Louise, I was not buying this. Like, right up at the thing, I'm like, nah, I really wasn't on board with you for a while. And then you came out with the names, right? Because the little bit where you said about how Viking territory went down to Denmark is a thing that I know that it didn't, because Denmark was one of the main sources of Vikingers. Vikingers, many of them were Danish. You know, it wasn't Viking territory.
I mean, the area went down as far south as Denmark.
Oh,
because everyone thinks, oh yeah, it's like Normandy,
and so many of
we were mostly invaded by the Danish.
You know, it's the name. Yeah, you clawed that one back. At first, I'm like, this is like a piece of history I know quite well, but you're making me doubt myself now. I'm not so sure. Oh, this is a hard one. You've all done a really good job on this. And I genuinely don't know what to do. I'm gonna, Sunflower puts this very. Oh, we've got to hydrate, guys. Yeah, right.
I have nothing to hydrate with.
I have Dr. Pepper's okay because I'm an unhealthy human being.
Yeah.
I've got a 12-pack of Diet Coke, and I have
the remnants of a cherry Coke from work.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
I managed to get it half price. It was £3.
Jesus, go for you.
A 12 pack for £3 is good.
Before I make my mind up, I'm going to put a quick poll up.
Cheeky poll.
Little cheeky poll. And I'm going to see, we're going to have, it's a very quick one. It's going to be a 1-minute poll. And I want to see
once again, the other guys' stories were cute, but like, you know.
Yeah, but,
hey, I may be biased, but I know my swords.
Hey, like
I know how to make them. I just don't know what to fucking call them. Like,
I research this shit all the time for my own fucking fantasy stories. Like, I base a lot of my fantasy stories on like real weaponry.
Oh no, I make that shit up because it's like cool. I'm like, I want a sword that looks like an elephant face.
Poll is up, everybody.
More fun facts in regards to the metal used to make weaponry. Bronze was the original metal for mirrors. So little bronze discs in ivory bone frames.
That makes absolutely no sense to be having like a little bronze like. How would you?
Because that was because that's what you could polish bronze, but they didn't have steel. They've not figured that out yet.
Nowadays, with antiquities, if you own something bronze of value, do not fucking polish it.
Yeah.
Side note for anyone that owns anything bronze.
Yeah,
I know that, and I know that because I learnt the hard way on that one. I had a lovely little collection, had a decidedly messed. I had the most beautiful little Roman coin It was gorgeous. I wanted it to look nice.
No.
I fucking ruined it.
Yeah. Oh, honey.
Bronze rust is a real thing.
Yeah. I also have to say...
That's why everything I own is silver or gold.
I'm very much agreeing with Sunflower as well, saying that the levels of bullshittery here are impeccable. I am down for...
What use would you have for a blade that turned into a bulbous shape at the end?
We don't know.
Useful.
That's the whole fucking point. Like, what the fuck is this sword?
You just started wiggling things in the air.
Look, they don't know whose it was. They don't know who owned it.
So if it was shaped that way, because I know of some very odd shaped swords. There's one called a Flamberger, which is a great sword with a wavy blade design. It's ultimately straight, but it's a wavy blade design to enhance cutting power, and it is a very strange sword. But there are ones with even strange...
a large bread knife.
Basically, they act as large serrations.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's the bread knife sword for people. You know, when you want
Also,
a nice
I know
clean
exactly
cut.
where Sammy got the idea for the wiggly sword from. We've all seen The Mummy. We all have a crush on our death.
I'll be straight up. I actually haven't seen The Mummy.
Heresy. That is absolute heresy.
Okay. At what point can I come for a visit? Because I'm bringing the trilogy. You are even watching the shit one.
And she's not lying on that front. I got the education as well.
I can imagine.
But to answer your question, Louise, like ceremonial swords do have very odd shapes because they're not meant for combat.
Still does, but like they found this in a battlefield.
Of all the things that I expected, I didn't expect you to back up each other. I did like that ganging up specifically to screw me. Like, yeah, we're gonna just make Zach's life harder here.
It's % off. It's good.
I'm not here to win. I'm here to make people argue.
You also know that people were like on battlefields that weren't actually fighters, right?
Yeah.
Like that is a thing.
I am aware how battle strategy works. Thank you. They used to bring the prostitutes.
No.
That's why the pitchfork thing works, because like people, like farmers, would like try and defend their homesteads with a fucking pitchfork because it's got stabbing power.
Right, I've made my mind up. I've decided I'm gonna go. I think I'm saying, Pete, I like it. Believe everything about what you're saying. I believe, again, this is another case of this is something that you know about and you've attached it to the name. You've just, like, these are facts you knew about something else and have attached it to this name. I liked your one, Louise. There's just too many bits in there that make me go, eee. Sammy, have I picked your article again?
No, it's not mine.
Fuck! Hold on. Okay, well, Sammy gets a point.
Bad now.
I do feel bad now because I've been incredibly dismissive to someone who was telling the truth.
Yeah.
So,
have a guess, Zach.
Have a fucking guess.
Who? Pete?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Article,
yeah. No, that was all right. That was all convincing. It was just those little details in there that made me go with Sammy again, where I was like, oh, that's an interesting little detail that just kind of put me. No, I just thought you were like randomly coming up with stuff there. I thought you were like, yeah.
I had no idea that Damascus made it that far up north.
I'm gonna be straight up. Like, as soon as like I was like, okay, it kind of sounds German. Fuck, think of a German war real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the bit, because I was like, of all the things, like I wasn't expecting you to, like, I was the Battle of the Seine bit, where I went, that was an actual battle. And when you went, there's something or other, and I'm like, yeah, that's like something you've remembered, but you don't know how to pronounce. Like, that just sold me so hard on that.
Also, old rough to sword? Where's the fucking F in that? Where's an F?
Look, I panicked.
Like, well, there's an F in there. It's like Ulfbeart.
German words are weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah, do you know what? Fuck it, I can give you some points on that. We're gonna...
Zach's dyslexic, you wouldn't have known.
Yeah, I would not have. Thanks for the follow, little Ben boy.
Me too.
Little Ben boy.
Oh, little Ben boy, he's one of my guys. Hey.
Oh, is he? Hey.
Oh, and one of my friends, North, subscribed. I don't know if he's watching. He subscribed earlier when we went live, but thank you.
I see.
Yay.
Excellent. So, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go and rehydrate, and we're going to be back in just a moment. Let me just bring up Streamlabs so that it behaves itself. See you in a moment, guys. There we go. And we are live. Back up.
Penis.
Penis. Don't. I'm too suggestible.
That is something that all of us here enjoy, but not right now.
There's someone on my
There's
table.
a time and a place, but not now.
Yeah, I feel like.
Oh, did I tell him to go? Oh,
Link in
sorry.
bio.
Mate,
Sorry,
you
what?
gotta leave.
No, not anymore. But yes, so we are back on with it's round 3 actually, because we've had 2 rounds already. Sammy off in the lead with two points. I've got a point, and it's just Sammy.
The others are trying.
The others are
That's
trying.
it.
The others are trying.
Oh dear.
I'm not trying in the game. I'm just trying in general. I'm a trying person.
And rolling over on the random generator, seeing which article we have next, we have Witch Window. Witch Window. Do you know what? I haven't started with Louise yet, so I'm going to start with Louise. Louise, what's Witch Window?
No one ever picks me first.
I just did.
So, witch windows are, as you may guess, a window for a witch. They were escape holes, essentially, for people accused of being a witch.
Oh.
A little bit like a priest hole during the
Yep.
Catholic versus Protestant era. So a lot of people think that they were for throwing women out of to see if they were a witch.
Oh.
Like if they'd fly off. No, they're just bolt holes.
We're all going to acknowledge priest hole and move on.
No.
My dad's a minister. Don't bring that up.
Yeah, so we're going to. It's. Sorry. Hold on. Brain short circuited then. So, okay. I'm going to ask plenty of follow up to that. That sounds fascinating. Pete, Banana, what is Witch Window?
Witch Window, or Witch Windows were essentially like back when medicine wasn't fully developed and it was still kind of herbalist. Like the sort of town like wise woman or like a witch or something who was knowledgeable in that sort of like potion brewing would have a window in their house that they could sell things from, essentially, from their own home.
Right.
Meaning that they didn't have to carry things to and from marketplaces.
Yeah.
It was easier to just
pop a little hatch open I can see this. It's just like a little window they put out their wares at the okay. We'll get back to that. We'll definitely get back to that. And Sammy.
So a witch window is hilarious and one of the dumbest fucking things on the planet, but I love it. So they're also nicknamed the Vermont Window because you only see them in Vermont, America. But essentially, they are a window. When you see a building with when the roof is like this, obviously most roofs are like this, but like in old houses when the roofs are like this, you'll have a window that's placed at an angle. Now, they were initially... The real reason that we have them is because, like, it just fits the house better. But the story behind it is that people used to think if they had a witch window that was to an angle, it was an anti-witch repellent because witches couldn't fly sideways on their brooms.
I want that to be true.
I love that. Honestly. We must find the book, brew the potion, and kill the children of Salem before sunrise. Ow!
No, do you know what? Actually, I was going to loop back to Pete. No, Sammy, I want to know more details about this. Like, why could the witches not fly sideways?
Right.
Like,
I don't know. But essentially, it's where the story of it came from. So they originally started seeing them in, I think, 1700s houses. when they had started implementing. So they weren't even like glass or windowsill or anything like that. They were just like a window that you would board up or anything like that. But they wanted to specifically place them instead of just like upright or like horizontal or vertical. No, it had to be at an angle, because then for some reason,
why weren't all the windows at an angle?
Because I don't know the specific reason why all windows weren't angles.
Or just not have a window high up enough for them to fly through.
I mean, fair. I can't tell you what the people of Vermont were thinking.
Is it because you're lying?
No, it's because I'm genuinely telling the truth. I was so excited for this one to come up because I couldn't wait to tell people the dumbest fucking story I'd ever heard.
Like the logistics of it are just weird because, like, yeah, why wouldn't they have like every window planted?
You'd think that in someone's brain, someone would go, "Oh yeah, a witch could just do this on a broom," but it's just like, no. But they're now
she's a witch, but she's not a Formula One driver.
But like that's where they initially originated from. Yeah. But they're known as Vermont Windows and that now because they were originated in Vermont, but they are now just an aesthetical design to a house. Yeah. But I just think it's the funniest fucking shit.
I love that amazing. So much. I desperately want this to be your article. I've still got to question everyone else, but I want this to be true because that was great. Pete.
And today we learned that Zach has a crush on Sammy.
Oh, do I now? Great to be informed of such.
It's Pete. All good. Everyone has a crush on me, so it's fine.
I'm the one who married you.
That's true.
In a much less like ludicrous sense, because that is funny, like witch windows were a thing back when medicine wasn't exactly developed enough to become like the medicine we know today. It was a herbalist's window, essentially, or like a witch's window, because very often the stuff they made was made fresh. They can't really like transport it into town very easily. Because it's all different like bundles, vials and everything, so it was easier to just sell it from your own home, from your own kitchen, and it was a place where they could, it was like one of those like board windows that you could just like open like that, and it was easier, like a street venue, there's a street vendor, that you could just sell their potions from and their remedies, like again, like so, things perished too quickly for them to travel into town.
Like, where is this trend? So, like, is this like localized to an area? Is it a European thing? Like a particular country?
Very much like a West European thing.
Yeah.
It's like Germany, France. Like before, like the term witch became a thing. It later was dubbed witch windows because we associate that sort of like herbalist remedy, like wise woman, to be a witch nowadays. That term was coined in the 50s, but this was like a very old thing dating back to like the 1200s, and it was like easier. Like people could come out of town into the village where the wise woman lived, and get them from there because they were made fresh, and they could essentially buy them from the source and take the medicine where they were instead of having to take it on a cart with a horse and cart or something into town where the main market was. Because while it was like better to probably sell it there, everything perished before they went to the market. Okay. Like stuff lost its potency.
Yeah, I can kind of see the chain of logic here. Yeah, I'm getting that. Is there like a particular era that it sort of like, did it die out as a trend? Is it, is this like dated like to a historical era? Is it a thing?
When better preservatives were found, like they were able to keep them lasting, like keep their shelf life. But before they figured out how to properly preserve remedies, because it was all creams and everything. So what's up with my camera?
Oh,
why is it so dark?
It went real dark real quick.
Yeah, it did.
It was just like, he knows he's lying, so let's just shade
it. I'm being cursed right now.
It's because you're talking about witches.
Oh dear, lovely.
It's once the preservatives became better, like before they did that, they couldn't keep them on the shelf very long without them going bad. So it was easier for people to go into the village where the wise woman lived and get them from there.
Okay, all right. I haven't actually got much in the way of reasonable follow-up at that point. I think you can mean. Do you know what, Louise? Let's crack ahead. Which windows?
Which windows?
Like the priest holes. So I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't know what a priest hole is. So I kind of want to ask first. What's a priest hole?
So a priest hole was where you would hide your Catholic priest, so that the Protestants didn't burn them or hang them.
Oh, I see.
Back when Henry VIII created the Church of England, and then his daughter Queen Mary, Bloody Mary, started killing all the Protestants.
Yeah,
and then her sister Elizabeth. And so priest holes were essentially a little bit like a wine cellar. You'd have like a little altar or a little carving in the rock where you could have a crucifix. They found them with rosary beads still in there, so it was just like a place where you could hide Catholic supporters or Catholic priests from persecution.
Lovely. And so when this comes back to witch windows,
so
hiding
similar
witches?
Similar concept. Around the same time. So King James I, King James I of the King James Bible.
Yep.
It was. So I studied in Lancaster University. And we learned all about the Pendle witch trials, the very first big witch hunt, which kind of gave precedence for large-scale witch hunts. They hadn't really happened before this. This was the first instance of multiple people being accused from two different families. And after that, people got scared that they were going to be accused of being witches. A lot of tactics were employed to fake witchcraft symptoms. So as well as things like the dunking stool, so if you were a witch, you were hanged, but if you were proven not a witch, you'd still be drowned and dead. Or reciting the Lord's Prayer, which at the time was only in Latin. Not many people spoke Latin. And knives, blades that actually were tracted, so you'd press them into a water or a mole and pull them back, and oh look, she doesn't bleed, she's protected by the devil. So people were afraid of being accused of being witches. So after the Pendle witch trials, you started getting what were called witch windows. Bit like an escape route. So they were called witch windows because after several decades of use, they kind of spiraled into a rumour of it being that only a witch would be able to fit through this small window. But in fact, they were just small, so people didn't notice them. So if you were accused of being a witch, you could essentially escape from if they invaded your home. It would take you out the back. Usually the window would be in a basement through to a little tunnel. Sometimes they were just in the wall if you didn't have anywhere else to put them, and it was a way for them to flee so that they weren't hanged.
Oh, this is very interesting. I want Sammy's to be true. But I'm finding that I am. I don't know. I'm having a genuinely hard time. I'm very aware of the fact that it appears Sunflower does know what this is. And so I'm having to avoid the chat so that in case she posts anything
Telling us who it was.
Yeah, I don't want it to be I don't know. Do you know what? Sammy.
Yes.
Sounds fucking awesome. I as you stated, you're very good at lying. I think you've just come up with an amazing story there, and that's so I'm gonna cross you out. And Pete, it was just I liked it, but it was the preservatives bit and the detail you went to on that bit where you kind of lost me on the idea of preserving, because I think to myself, obviously the old term would have been apothecary. I don't know whether that's me just not remembering. So I'm going to say Louise. Louise, is it your article?
No, it is in fact Sammy's. Which you can't fly out the window.
It's regular.
Why? That's so dumb. I hate
Americans
it.
are stupid.
Oh, that is amazing. Oh.
They made windows because they thought witches wouldn't be able to just go.
Just turn to the side a bit and just yoink.
Were there times where witches were flying through people's windows?
Apparently.
Apparently. Yeah. Fucking hell. How did you find it? Was this what part of your Googling for the weirdest Wikipedia article? Yeah, it just came up fucking witch windows.
I saw it. It was like, witch windows? Windows used to deter witches. And I went, what? So
Weirdly, I know a lot. I knew of those. I didn't think I could say what it actually was because I didn't think she believed me.
I love it. So point to Louise for convincing me. There we go. So yeah, I think
Sometimes it pays to go off on a tangent about your knowledge.
It does. Sometimes it pays off.
you know what doesn't pay? A fucking witch window. Who needs one?
Well, how do you think I got in?
Well, not for a witch window, because they would have been there to deter you.
Like, honestly, like,
You should
Louise,
have put
yours
one
was
in.
really believable. Yours was, like, really believable. I was, like, struggling. I
Everything
was like,
about that was true except for the witch window bit, believe it or not.
Oh wow! I like
like,
that.
that is amazing.
That is great. That was good. That was good
Yeah,
bullshit.
so the
through
Pendle.
I mean, don't get me
Pendle
wrong.
witch
I wish I'd come up with that on my own.
If you had, I would have been floored, to be honest. If that would have been. Anyway,
Yeah, the Pendle witch trials was the first case of sentencing someone to death for being a witch on a large scale.
damn.
But not all of them were hanged.
Oh.
2 of them actually died whilst chained up at the bottom of a pit. All 12 of them were chained up at the bottom of a pit, and 2 of them died from starvation.
Oh my god!
And one little girl got away, but the entire case was because 2 families who didn't like each other just started accusing each other's family members. And it was King James got involved. King James was incredibly suspicious. He was Scottish. I don't know if the 2 things are related, but there you go. And he was incredibly religious and superstitious and had a terrible fear of witches. And he created legislature in order to allow them to be hanged in that way. And it sparked precedents for the Salem witch trials.
Yeah.
So so pilgrims who moved over to the Americas brought the tale of the Lancaster Pendle witch trials with them and used it as evidence for their own.
Well done. That is excellent.
So incredibly. If anyone gets to go to the Lancaster Castle and get a tour, I recommend it. You can see the dungeons themselves and sit in one.
Wow. Well, I think then we've got. I think if we're round 4, I think we're going to call it there. We're going to go to our last article. Are we all ready? Let's get the random generator. And the next...
Oh dear.
What is it, Zach?
It's going to be something stupid.
This is so stupid. Whoever did this, you're a shit, right? The article is Beekeeping in the United Kingdom. So, you have got as long as it takes for me to talk, for people to... Do you know, I can't ask you what it is. It's so self-evidently there. Do you know what?
But how do you... What's in the article?
Yeah, that's the bit where I'm going to have to be like, oh, whatever reprobate put that in. Jesus. So, right. Instead of telling me what beekeeping in the United Kingdom is, because I can guess, I tell you what, give me some stuff that you read in the article. Give me some meat. So what's notable about beekeeping United Kingdom? And I'm going to come to, who haven't I been to first? I don't think I think I've been to everyone first. Sammy, I'm going to come to you first.
The beekeeping in the United Kingdom were the first ones to develop the bee smoker.
The bee smoker.
Yeah.
Okay. Pete.
The resignation rate for... Sorry, there's a fly in my room. The resignation rate of beekeepers...
A bee?
The resignation rate for people, like beekeepers in the UK, when it first became a thing, was so high because they kept getting stung. It forced them to develop a specialized suit.
Oh. Ooh. Okay. I like that. And Louise.
It's just an article about the generic history and facts of beekeeping and the fact that there are bee associations, which I found hilarious.
Bee associations.
That sounds like something I would say. I feel like Louise is going off of my tactics.
No, I just really like bees.
So, okay, Pete. They all fucking resigned. When was this? Like, when did this kick? So when did this start? When did this all start? Where they all started pissing off?
It's like when they first started like making the wooden ones, right? The wooden beehives. Beforehand they were just getting it wild, right? Or they were setting up places where beehives already existed, or they encouraged bees to exist in places by providing them with the necessary resources to build hives nearby. When people started building their own hives, they thought it would be a lot easier to sort of keep them contained because they've built them these hives. Turns out it didn't fucking work. The bees were still like defending their hives with their life, and people kept resigning because they were like, no, I'm sick of this. Like, we tried to fix this problem and it's not working. And eventually someone was like, yo, what if we like made a special suit that stopped the bees from stinging us? And that's where like the first suits developed with like the straw like circle on the face.
Yeah, I like this.
It's like it's the first time that one of these suits existed, and it all sprang because people kept losing their employees. And they weren't making any fucking money.
Yeah, because they all just fucked off. Yeah.
So they were like, yo, if we make you this special suit that will stop the bees from stinging you, will you come back? And people were like, okay, yeah, I better not get fucking stung this time. And it worked. Like, the stings, like, people still got stung, obviously, but it went down, and people stopped resigning as quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's just capitalism, minimum wage increases, but, you know, like, yeah, that just makes sense. I completely believe that. I can completely believe that they first started going like, oh yeah, these hives, you know, they won't be able to fully swarm coming out of these things. It'll just be a few at a time. It'd be, yeah, no, I can see that happening. I like that. Hi to our new follower, Kelika? Nice, Kelika.
Nice, hello.
Hello. Yeah, I like that.
We love you.
It, Pete. Okay, I'm going to come over to Sammy. We invented the bee smoker, did we?
We did invent the bee smoker. So a guy named Moses Quimby from Kidderminster invented the bee smoker. So for anyone that doesn't know what a bee smoker is, and they're very frowned upon now, and you shouldn't use them. Bad. Don't use bee smokers. It's not good for them. But essentially, the smoke is made like pheromones and shit, and like it subdues bees to stop them from being so agitated and like angry and shit. So yeah, Moses Quimby, essentially, he had, you know, those things that you used to use to start fires, like the thingies.
Yeah,
I don't know.
bellows.
Maybe, I don't fucking know. But fire thing. Essentially, that was like the first prototype. So he put the misted pheromones inside of like this thing and spray it at the bees, and it subdued the bees. He did this multiple times as well to get like the pheromones accurate and shit. My guy got stung a lot by bees because most of it just fucked him off. It fucked off the bees. Like, I'm gonna be straight up with you. Why are you fucking with bees in the first place, man? Like, why? But essentially, yeah, was using the bellows. But he eventually came up with a concoction and the method of which you could keep a certain amount of distance from said bees. to squishy, squish, and then they're subdued, and it's like, yeah, we don't get stinged now. We can go into the hives, and they're all like chilling.
So, Sammy, like if I'm wrong, this is going to be very embarrassing, but I know who invented the bee smoker. I know where they
Moses
come from.
Quimby.
I also know Kidderminster quite well.
My mum's from there. That's why I know this.
Oh, really? Oh, damn. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't expect that. But yeah. No, I know who did it, and it was over in America, and I know the year as well. So unfortunately, you've just crossed into a piece of knowledge. If I'm wrong, this is incredibly embarrassing.
You're gonna be embarrassed real quick, my guy. I'm just saying, you're about to look hella stupid.
Oh God.
Guys in the chat, can we just get ready for all of the air? Because Zach is just about to look like an absolute twat.
Oh.
I know about bee smoke, because well, clearly you fucking don't.
You see, I also remember you saying how good of a liar you are, so I'm not going to fold to the pressure, but I am slightly terrified.
I am a good liar.
Surely that would be in an article about the invention of the bee smoker and not generic national beekeeping.
Yeah, no, but it would be generic national beekeeping, because it's the generic fact of like, okay, beekeeping wise in the UK, this is the person that invented the bee smoker. Now you know.
I'm
just saying.
Yeah, I'm not going to rule out that I'm going to look at like a complete twat in a moment, but I'm going to.
You are genuinely you're gonna vote for one of these two and look like an absolute dunce.
Oh fucking hell!
I googled weird shit. I googled weird articles. What is weirder than fucking beekeeping in the
UK? Okay, right, Louise.
It's a simple article. It talks about how bees are used to produce honey, royal jellies, various other bits and pieces, but it's got some fun sub-articles. So I have a litany of bee facts for you.
Ooh.
We'll start off with the Bee Association. So the BAB is the British Amateur Beekeeping Association. Or BABA sometimes. They have the A on the end.
The BABA.
It's the same for Scotland and Wales, but the Northern Ireland Amateur Beekeeping Society is called the Ulster Amateur Beekeeping Association. I don't know why. There is also a national one for professional beekeepers, not amateurs. There is also a bee unit. There is a special unit for bees. It's for the protection, conservation, and breeding of bees nationally. In fact, we did not use wooden boxes originally. We have been farming bees for many, many years. They don't know exactly when it originated, but they used wicker or woven baskets essentially for the bees. We also have the 2008 winter, in which 20% of the British bee population died and was considered the worst event for bees in all of recorded history. And so there's also the Bee Act. The Bee Act, which I think was in the 1970s, but I can't quite remember, but is essentially an emergency act against the use of pesticides and other crop sprays that harm bees. The act has never been enforced, but they have created a Bee Act so that if the bees were ever to become in absolute emergency endangerment, we could enforce stricter regulations on pesticides than we currently have. And my absolute favourite part is that in World War II, they rationed sugar for the bees. So they said in World War II, there was a military effort to ensure the importation of sugar so that bees wouldn't die over the winter.
For bees? The bee rations.
20 kilograms over the winter and 5 kilograms during summertime of honey itself was not a ration product. The price of honey was independently enforced by the seller. So the prices were higher, but there wasn't a rationing on honey itself because it was a natural product and it wasn't something that you'd run out of necessarily. It's not like meat, which had to be farmed with a lot more money. But yeah, sugar was rationed so that beekeepers could have access to sugar for the bees.
For the bees.
For the bees. And that is, there is also a one of the sub-articles on that from the little drop boxes is notable people who have been beekeepers, amateur or otherwise, but I didn't recognise any of the names.
Oh.
Bees.
I mean, you should have recognised Moses Quimby, the inventor of the bee smoker.
Shut up, you're terrible. Yeah.
You see,
I'm being honest. Moses Quimby invented the bee smoker.
Don't try and pull
Kidderminster.
generating a name to make it sound more plausible trick. I did that earlier.
So
I have been...
You think I can pull the name Moses Quimby out of my backside?
Yes.
Yeah.
Your name is Sammy Dodger Mines.
Yeah, named after a fucking biscuit.
So, you see, I'm really annoyed, right? Because of course it's Louise, right? Of course it is. That's what it is, right? That is definitely got to be what this is. But the thing is I'm having my brain incepted here. Like I'm having this like crisis of confidence where
Don't fall into a trap. Don't you want the point? Don't you want the point?
Oh, because
He's gonna look like a dick.
Hey,
because
Okay,
I know,
what's
because
more-
bee smokers, I know for the fact that they were invented burning nicotine. They burnt tobacco, and the nicotine in it is what makes them sedate. They don't use pheromones.
Also, current
but
bee
also,
smokers aren't dangerous.
and
Don't go spreading misinformation about beekeepers.
and I'm hearing this thing, and I'm like, but again, like, just your conviction, Sammy, is complete. Oh, that's hold on. Fuck it, no. Louise, is it you?
Yes!
Yeah! Oh, I'm so glad.
I'm just putting it out there, though, Moses Quimby did actually invent the bee smoker. I'm just saying.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't pull the name Moses Quimby out my bumhole.
Yeah,
I would have.
Yeah,
I'm
Moses
an author.
Quimby.
I know how to create names on the spot.
Yeah, Moses Quimby was part of the reason why I was like, you were successfully gaslighting me into thinking you were right. Like Moses Quimby is part of this where I'm going like, oh no, am I wrong? Like, have I been like tricked and like misinformation online? Like, oh.
But it was invented in America. I literally just changed the place of where he made it.
Yeah. Oh, Kidderminster. Oh god, I've got stories for you. But sorry, that's
like keep girl boss.
I liked that as well because I was also going to be like doubly embarrassed because I've been not only have I been there, I used to live not very far away at all. And we went to, you know what, I'm going to save this story until after stream. Probably not going to, that's a bit personal.
Can we please appreciate that they rationed sugar during the war for the bees?
I know! The bee rations!
There's a bee unit!
Yeah! I love the fact, like, I'm imagining, like, Churchill and Roosevelt, not Roosevelt, wrong one, and I'm imagining them all around the table talking about the Atlantic convoys, we must get the food to our boys over, and the sugar for the fucking bees. You know, gotta protect the bee sugar from the U-boats, like, oh, that was good. That was absolutely amazing shithousery all around, and I'm trying to think who's got all the points now.
I've got 2. I think Sammy's also got 2.
And I've got fucking hell.
0.
Okay, it's so I don't know who won, but we do know that Pete lost.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I did have some very convincing arguments.
You did. You really had some good shit there. You just, yeah, it was the levels of bullshit down here that did a really good job of pulling me away. Yeah. Oh dear. Well, that was a great stream. Been going about 2 hours, so it's a nice little point to stop off.
Nice.
Yeah. That has been our first episode of Two of These People Are Lying. This has been absolutely amazing and very much staying true to the format. We don't